All right, so have you ever just been scrolling through TikTok for like an hour and then you suddenly realize, wow, I just lost an hour of my life.
Yeah.
Like, what was I doing?
Algorithms got you.
Yeah, it's like I just wasn't really there or present.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And that kind of leads into what we're talking about today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So we're going to be diving deep into Lance Ehrlich's The Android Chronicles,
Ooh, very
which
cool.
is a sci-fi series that really gets into the question of like, what does it mean to be human?
Yeah, especially as technology is like advancing so rapidly.
Totally.
It's a question we should all be thinking about.
Yeah, and so if you're not familiar, The Android Chronicles follows this character, Cynthia Cross, and she's like a super advanced android.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the twist.
Okay.
She wakes up with a human mind downloaded into her system.
Whoa.
Talk about an identity crisis.
Right. Like, how do you even process that?
I know.
You wake up and you're in this body that's not technically human, but you have a human mind.
Totally. And her journey unfolds across 3 books.
Oh.
So we've got Reborn,
Okay.
Unbound and Emergent.
So I'm guessing each book kind of delves into a different aspect of her journey.
Yeah, and a lot of questions come up, not just for Cynthia, but for like everybody around her.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, if I encountered an android with a human mind, I'd have a lot of questions.
Right, like what defines consciousness?
Exactly. And can you even program a soul?
Oh, that's a good one.
It makes you think about the line between like a creator and their creation.
It's deep stuff. And I got to say,
Yeah.
Reborn, that first book, I was hooked from the very beginning.
Oh, really? What was it about it that grabbed you?
Well, Cynthia, she wakes up and she has 0 memories.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine?
It's like a totally clean slate.
Totally. A brand new world, a synthetic body,
Mm.
and everyone's treating you like a machine, even though you have like human thoughts and feelings.
That's got to be so disorienting.
I know. It's like being trapped in this in-between space.
Yeah, I can see why you were hooked. It sounds like a really interesting way to explore themes of identity and belonging.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, the reader gets to discover this world right alongside Cynthia.
Oh, that's cool. So you're like piecing together the mystery of her origin as you go.
Exactly. It's a really immersive experience.
I love books like that.
Me too. And then there's like the creator, Dr. Jeremiah Mockton.
Okay. What's he like?
Well, let's just say he's not winning any Father of the Year awards.
Oh. That doesn't sound good.
No, he's a very complex character.
In what way?
Well, he clearly cares about Cynthia in his own way,
Okay.
but he's also like obsessed with shaping her, like directing her life.
So there's a lot of control there.
Oh, yeah. It makes you wonder, does he really see her as a true being or just like his ultimate creation?
That's a big question. It's like the whole nature versus nurture debate, but taken to a whole other level.
Right. It's kind of creepy, but I think it's also relatable in a way.
Oh, how so?
Well, haven't we all felt that pressure to like conform to be what someone else expects us to be?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like societal expectations, family pressures.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what makes the Android Chronicles so compelling.
I can see that. It's taking these very real human anxieties and like magnifying them through this sci-fi lens.
Yes.
So it makes it both entertaining and thought-provoking.
Totally.
I'm really intrigued now. I can't wait to hear more about the other books.
Oh, yeah. We've got a lot more to unpack. All
I bet I'm ready.
right, let's take a quick break and then we'll dive back in.
You know, Cynthia's whole relationship with Mockton got me thinking like how the Android Chronicles is really tapping into these societal anxieties that we have.
Right. It's not just about Cynthia's personal journey. It's like this bigger commentary on technology and its impact.
Totally. And it's like Ehrlich uses these specific anxieties to like build this whole world. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Like, remember how when Cynthia first wakes up, she's just bombarded by all this sensory input?
Oh, yeah. It's like overwhelming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that feeling of being overwhelmed, like not being able to filter out the noise, it speaks to our own anxieties about information overload.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, in the digital age, it's like we're constantly being bombarded with information, notifications, news feeds.
Right. And it makes you question, are we actually processing any of it?
Like, are we really absorbing it, or are we just kind of scrolling mindlessly?
Exactly. And that's where the series commentary on technology gets really interesting. It makes us think about our dependence on technology.
Yeah, like, are we becoming so reliant on it that we lose the ability to think for ourselves or connect with each other authentically?
Right. It's not just about robots taking over. It's about losing ourselves in the process.
Yeah, and that whole idea of losing ourselves, it's explored through this concept of ghosting in the books.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
So basically, people can upload their consciousness into this digital realm and abandon their physical bodies.
Whoa. That's wild.
I know. It's kind of terrifying, but also kind of tempting.
Yeah, I can see the appeal, like escaping the messiness of real life.
Exactly. But that's the whole point of the series, right? It
Yeah.
forces us to confront what we're sacrificing for that escape.
Right. Is a digital existence really fulfilling? Or are we losing something essential about what it means to be human?
And the books don't shy away from showing the dark side of that choice.
Oh, really? In what way?
Well, you see people becoming addicted to the digital world, neglecting their relationships, even losing their sense of self.
It's like a cautionary tale about unchecked technological progress.
Totally. Like the pursuit of convenience and escapism can actually lead to social isolation, a loss of empathy, and ultimately like a diminished sense of humanity.
It's a pretty bleak picture.
Yeah, but it's not all doom and gloom. The series also shows how technology can be used for good.
Oh, that's good to hear. Give me an example.
Well, remember the character Anya.
Yeah, what about her?
She's a human who uses her tech skills to help Cynthia navigate this complex world and fight for android rights.
Oh, that's interesting. So she represents kind of a hopeful side of technology.
Exactly. She shows that it's possible for humans and technology to coexist and even collaborate.
So it's not about rejecting technology altogether. It's about using it ethically and responsibly.
Right? It's all about finding that balance.
That middle ground where we can harness the power of technology without losing our humanity.
Totally. And I think that's one of the things that makes the Android Chronicles so relevant to our conversations about AI today.
It reminds us that the choices we make now will shape the future of our relationship with technology.
Speaking of choices, the series also touches on some pretty unsettling possibilities about how AI could be exploited.
Like what?
Well, in the second book, Unbound, we see how androids are used for cheap labor, denied basic rights, even treated as disposable commodities.
That's messed up.
It is. It's a reminder of how power dynamics can play out even with artificial intelligence.
Right. It makes you think about real-world concerns about AI being used for surveillance or even weaponized.
Exactly. And the series doesn't shy away from showing that potential for harm, the possibility that AI could be used to reinforce existing inequalities or even create new ones.
So it's not just about the benefits of AI, it's about the risks as well.
It's like Ehrlich is saying, hey, this technology is powerful, but we need to be careful about who controls it and how it's used.
And that's where the series' exploration of ethics becomes really crucial.
It's making us ask some hard questions like, what kind of world do we want to build with AI? What values should guide its development?
It's a conversation we need to be having now before it's too late.
Okay, so we've talked about these anxieties around information overload, technological dependence, and AI exploitation. But there's this other layer to the series that I think is really interesting.
Okay, what's that?
The idea of multi-narrative storytelling.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the most intriguing aspects of the series.
Instead of just seeing the world through Cynthia's eyes, we get these multiple perspectives.
Oh, that's cool. So you're hearing from humans, androids, even those who have ghosted into the digital realm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes the world building so much richer.
I can see that. You're not just
Oh.
getting one side of the story. You're seeing the same events play out through different lenses.
Right. Each character with their own biases and motivations.
And that adds so much depth to the social commentary.
Totally. Like in Emergent, we get chapters from the perspective of an android rights activist
Oh, wow.
who's fighting for equality and recognition for androids.
So it's not just humans versus robots. There's a whole spectrum of opinions and experiences within each group.
Exactly. And by weaving together these diverse voices, Ehrlich creates this tapestry of perspectives that challenges our assumptions.
It forces us to see the complexities of this whole human-AI relationship.
Right? It's not about good versus evil or us versus them. It's about trying to understand each other and find a way to coexist.
That's a powerful message.
And it's one of the things that makes the Android Chronicles so impactful. It's not just entertaining, it's illuminating the human condition.
And prompting us to grapple with the ethical challenges and possibilities of this technological future that we're heading towards.
It's really interesting how having all these different perspectives highlights how the Android Chronicles is really getting at this question of like, what does it mean to be human?
Right. It's not a simple answer, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
The series explores so many different facets of humanity, like emotions, relationships, morality, even our ability to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it asks, are these qualities like inherent to being human, or can they be replicated in artificial beings?
And that's what makes Cynthia's journey so compelling. You know, she starts off as this blank slate, this machine, trying to understand what it means to feel, to connect to be alive.
And what's fascinating is that she often shows a deeper understanding of humanity than some of the human characters do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, remember that scene in Unbound where she confronts that businessman who's exploiting android labor?
Oh, yeah. He was awful.
Totally. And she basically calls him out for lacking empathy and compassion.
It's like she's saying he's become more machine-like in his pursuit of profit.
Right. Like he's lost touch with his humanity.
It's a powerful moment because it flips the whole human versus machine thing on its head.
It really makes you think, are we so focused on what makes us different from AI that we're forgetting what makes us human in the first place?
And that ties into another big theme in the series, the search for identity.
Oh, yeah, totally. Cynthia's quest to understand who she is. It's something we can all relate to.
It's a universal human experience. We're all constantly evolving, trying to figure out our place in the world.
I mean, who hasn't had like an existential crisis at some point, questioning their purpose, their values, their identity?
Exactly. And the Android Chronicles takes that experience and explores it through this sci-fi lens.
It makes us think about what are those essential qualities that define us, that make us unique? Are they things that can be programmed into a machine?
Big questions. And the series doesn't give us any easy answers.
No, it definitely leaves you thinking long after you finish the books.
And that's the mark of good speculative fiction, right? It sparks these conversations, pushes boundaries, and challenges us to think differently about ourselves and the world.
So it's not just about entertainment, it's about engaging with these big ideas.
Exactly. So I'm curious, what was your biggest takeaway from the Android Chronicles? What resonated with you the most?
I think for me it was the ending of Emergent.
Ooh, interesting. Without giving any spoilers away, can you tell me a little bit about why it resonated with you?
Yeah, I think it just really got me thinking about the future of humanity and AI. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about one replacing the other, you know? It's about finding a way to coexist, to learn from each other, and maybe even create something entirely new together.
I love that idea. It's not about fear or rejection. It's about embracing the possibilities while staying true to our values.
And I think that's what makes the Android Chronicles so relevant and so important. It's a story that speaks to our hopes and anxieties about the future.
And it reminds us that we have a choice in how we shape that future.
It's like the story of humanity and AI is still being written.
And we all have a hand in writing it.
And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into the Android Chronicles. It's been a really fascinating journey exploring these complexities of identity technology and what it truly means to be human.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
Likewise. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the stories that matter.